you ever seen, is there somebody when you think, man, I never seen a sales guy, somebody keynote, whoever does, give a speech to clear out the room to the back to buy something more than this guy?
Byron Golden is probably one of the GOATs. The largest one we've ever done. We did $5 million at the event. And he did the stage. He did the stage pitch, and then my team did the floor and the hallways. And so we worked in unison. But there's something magic about what he does on stage. I haven't seen anyone better than him.
Can you walk me through the sales cycle from you guys when you're doing, let's just say the HVAC event? Are most of these leads opted in leads recently, or are they more legacy stuff? And then what does your pitch start and kind of sound like?
We're calling new leads and we're calling old leads. And it's really a lot of, the big thing is like, hey, we're putting together a group of people. They're in your industry. We're going over leading trends, like 2025 is hot.
Welcome to the Leads to Deals podcast, where we talk about everything from leads to deals and everything we talk about leads to deals. You're here because you're obsessed with leveling up your life, dominating sales, mastering persuasion, and skyrocketing your financial success. I'm thrilled to welcome one of my boys, today's guest, Brian Rand. He's a powerhouse entrepreneur who transformed a successful career in sales into one of the most influential companies in the self-improvement event space. If you've been to a real estate seminar or a high-ticket sales training or any other major personal development event recently, chances are his fingerprints are on it. I believe you, Brian, truly live the philosophy. If you help enough people get what they want out of life, you can have everything that they want out of life. So again, I welcome you, Brian Rand, to the podcast, brother.
I appreciate it, brother. And yeah, man, we get to do some of the coolest events on the planet, and super grateful for that. But it's also been a fun journey watching you over the years. I've known you for, like, I think we said 7 or 8 years. Met through my time at Cardone's, and just now you're in Colombia. You've got hundreds of employees in your call center, and super excited for today. Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And you talk about hundreds of events. One of my knee-jerk questions, I said, man, I wonder what industry Brian loves the most. Like, what is your favorite industry to book tickets in?
Oof. I know that you're in the real estate space. I got to say, real estate is one of my favorite because why? Because they have money. They're invested minded. They already know if they're going to invest, they're going to be investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into projects or real estate deals. They're going to have no problem investing 5, 10, 15K into a coaching offer. So they're already investment minded. They're well funded, and they want to go to these events to be able to connect with other investors and like-minded individuals as well.
This is one of the questions I was going to say for later, but I got to say now. So I never went to an event until I got into the REI space. I had already made my money, had already been in sales for a long time, et cetera. And I went to a real estate event, and my very first one I went to, Brian, it was everything like I would have expected it to be. I was motivated. I was on fire. And then I felt like I didn't need to come back because I needed a year to go put into action all the things that I learned.
Yeah.
But as I came back, I started to say, oh man, there's a big churn of people who always come back and don't take action. Is that, I know you're probably caught between a rock and a hard place. Do you like those people because they constantly buy tickets, or what is it that you look for when you have these junkies, these event junkies?
Yeah, man. Well, I think, there's two parts. One is that, of course, I always want to sell tickets, right? So I'm always selling tickets to those guys. So I love a good repeat buyer. And we see, we don't call it, every event, they own that list. So we call a fresh list for every single event, but we see a lot of similar names pop up, right? And we'll get on the phone and they'll be like, wait, do you work for Brian Rand? Like, it's cool that at this point, over 100, almost 150 events, like, people are so familiar with our team now that, like, if they get a phone call about a ticket, they're like, oh, are you part of ESA? And we'll see those. The thing is, though, at the event, when we show up, if I recognize someone that I know isn't going to buy and they're just kind of an event junkie, hopping event to event, then I'll tell my team, like, hey, don't spend a lot of time with that guy because he'll want to, suck a lot of time out of you. But one of the strategies of being good at events is being able to walk into a room of 200 or 300 people in a very short amount of time. You only have 48 hours to get the entire deal done, right? So, like, and I need to close 50 deals out of 200 people. I have to be very good about my social awareness and being able to have those conversations quick, being able to feel the energy of the conversation and, okay, is this guy a player? Is this guy set up for what we need? And does our solution meet or fit him? And I need to be able to do that in 90 seconds or less and move on to the next guy. So the entire first day, all you're doing is shaking hands, collecting energy, and just seeing what you can get done. And a lot of those kind of people, you can pick up on it pretty quick. And it's just kind of like, hey, man, thanks for coming. Love to see you. Probably see you next time, and move on to the next guy.
I see a guy like you and I say, hey man, I know what you're actually like the first line of offense for some of the top sales guys out there. And so what amazing like blessing that the top sales trainers, like I saw one of the most phenomenal testimonials I've ever seen for a man given by Andy Elliott for you. And he's
Mm.
walking down the hallway and he's right now regarded as one of the most, if not the most elite sales guy out there. And to think that he's trusted this other guy, this other team to be the representation of what sales is. What does that mean to you? Is it a lot of additional pressure? Walk me through that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of a pressure because everybody has their own way of doing things. I mean, what's interesting about what we do is we wear a new logo every weekend, right? So one weekend I'm selling Andy Elliott's, event with Brad Lee. That was our first ticket event ever. Next week we're selling dental training. Next week we're selling real estate investing. Next week we're selling mortgage leads. Next week we're selling like so the one thing I take great pride in is that our team is ability, the chameleon really, right? Like because like you sell to dentists much different than you sell to real estate investors. And like right now we're selling for Garrett J. White for Manning the Arena, 7,000 tickets. And he's like, fucking pound these guys, like get in their heart, get them emotional. And then you have people, like other clients that are like, don't high pressure at all, like show them love and put your arms around them. So it's like, not only is it different products, it's also different style and different abilities. And so I definitely don't think my team gets enough credit for their ability to. It's really simple when you have one offer, one coaching
Yes.
offer, and you sell the same thing 365 days in a row. But shout out to my team and to the culture we've built that allows people to be able to pivot on a moment's notice. And we can take 3 bullet points and 5 minutes with a client and have them teaching us how they want us to sell to their audience and be able to get the results we do over and over again.
When you say that, I think, oh man, it's fundamentals. It's almost like if the fundamentals were a swimming pool, like depending
Yeah.
on the product, you're just going to go deeper into it. Like you're still going to go do a good opening. You're still going to do some type of discovery. You're still going to have some type of value proposition, painting the future. It's just that you're going to go either deeper or a little bit more shallow, depending on who the avatar it is or the event style. Am I right?
Yeah, and a lot of it is really more focused on the event style of the person we're talking to and how they want us to communicate with their specific clientele. And I've gotten, sometimes people want us to hug more, and we brought the 2x4. Sometimes,
Yeah, I was going to.
they want us to hit more of the 2x4, and we brought the hugs. And so you live and you learn. But the best part is when, and this is what we're starting to see now, 3 years in the business, is when people come back to us for repeat business, which shows us that they loved what we did, they appreciated our effort, and it gives us an opportunity to get to know their audience because now we've done events year over year with them, and then that only increases the results that we're able to get when that happens as well.
I think I overheard you say this in some podcast a while ago, but you were talking about the difference between putting like a butt in the seat versus a buyer in the seat.
Yeah.
And that's how you get repeat business, right? Like there's got to be a methodology to this concept.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that we look at for every event is how many buying units are actually going to be there, right? And a buying unit institutes like somebody who would actually give you money. So if you come and you bring 5 guys from your team, that's maybe 6 tickets, but that's only one buying unit, right? So like that's 5 extra butts and seats of people who aren't going to buy anything. Like all we're really interested in is how many buying units are in the room. So we might have 1,000 people at an event, but there might only be 300 buying units. So, and then you have to take out the people who are already signed up in their coaching product. So it's much more than just get 1,000 people in a room. There's a science to not only getting them in the room and then make sure how you know how many buying units are, but also figuring out their financial wherewithal before the event and then creating custom experiences for the wealthier people of that group. So you know how to pull them, extract them out of that audience. So now you have you might have 1,000 people at your event, but you might only have 200 buying units, but only 100 of them make $1 million a year or more. So like, how do you find those 100 people and then you pull them out for $1 million lunch that they don't even know that they got pulled out for? Like, you don't want to make it seem too obvious. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways that we go about doing that research. And then once they're in the room, we'll say, hey, you guys are the 100 millionaires here at this event. So congratulate them, like lift them up, elevate them, and let them know you guys are the people we want to be in front of. So it took us putting 1,000 people in a room to get the 1,000 people, or to get the 100 millionaires that we actually wanted to spend time with, into a private lunch.
What was the first seminar Brian Rand ever went to?
Oof. That's good. It's funny. A lot of people don't know, but before I started my company, I had a co-working space a long time ago.
Okay.
And so I used to go to like Chamber of Commerce meetings, BNI meetings, like all of these things. And I had a 400 person co-working space for small businesses in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, long before I worked for Grant Cardone. And the way that I was able to build that out was I would go meeting to meeting to meeting. I would follow the mayor to every ribbon cutting. Like I was literally at every ribbon cutting the mayor went to until he started introducing me as like the young entrepreneur that was building businesses in the city. And then once I started to get all that accolade and that attention, then people started recognizing, and that's when like I started doing that. So I don't know what the first one was, but I think it was probably a Chamber of Commerce meeting. That's what's interesting with the internet marketing space is I did a lot of my stuff, and you're old school enough to, we're both a little bit older, but like BNI, Chamber
Yeah.
of Commerce, those kind of meetings were really how I built my first two companies. Before the internet marketing, we didn't have Instagram and TikTok and, live streaming on Instagram like we have today. Like none of that stuff existed when I was building that, it was all face to face meetings.
I see you, and I may be misreading you over all these years, but I see you as like a tactical extrovert. Like I don't see you as like a somebody who's just wilding out, super loud. But it sounded like from this, like I was kind of surprised. Like okay, even at a young age, you were like following around. You were going to these events. You were making yourself on purpose go out there. Is that come natural to you, or is it something you're doing with a thought behind it?
I think that it's funny you bring that up. I feel like, I used to at my co-working space, I used to teach a class called Networking 101. And I told the story of how like what I did with the mayor, right? Because I needed money. And so I looked up because I wanted to get close to the mayor because I knew if I was connected to the mayor, who else is connected to the mayor, right? Is all the bankers, right? All the presidents of the banks because they want to know the development projects and all access to the city money. So I got in really close with the mayor. And then once I had the mayor in my seat, he started introducing me to all the bankers. And then I went to them and said, hey guys, I need sponsorships to keep my business alive because I'm trying to help young entrepreneurs. So it was strategic in the sense that I knew I needed to get access to the money. I couldn't just walk into the banks. But if I got the mayor on my side and he endorsed me, so I would go to every event that he was at. And that was a big part of how I was doing it. So I don't know if it was like a creative strategy or it was something that I caught in the meantime. But then also I did the same thing with Dan Fleischman, right? A lot of people know Dan Fleischman. What I did with Dan was like one of the first events of of God, what was his name? The guy you just said? Our bald headed no,
Grant Card, no.
no, the other guy that you did the two events for, the tickets for.
Oh, Scale and Escape with Kent Clothier.
Yeah, so I paid to go to Kent Clothier's event, but I paid for the VIP to go backstage to hang out with Dan Fleischman because I knew that Dan was like the mayor of the high ticket space.
Yeah.
And I was paying more than I could afford to get access into the rooms so I could get his attention because I knew if I could get one shot to fill up an event for him, that would be a ticket. And now, Dan's paid me millions of dollars in the last 2 years to fill up some of the biggest events in the country, and they've all come from him. And so it was a similar mindset. I was like, find the influencer in the space that can send you all the business, or like put out all that energy to get in front of them, bring them a ton of value. And then when they give you the chance, like go fucking all in and make it happen. And I did that with the mayor and it paid off. And I did it with Dan. And, now I have what I have today.
So in that gap between the mayor and Dan, you also did another power play, which is like when I think of like, hey, if you're young and coming up and you want to get like sales experience and you want to be around salespeople, I always tell people different industries. Never in my entire world would I be like, oh, actually go sell for Tony Robbins or go sell with Grant Cardone or somebody who's like really, really known in these spaces or go sell Andy Elliott, because it just seems so almost unfathomable that you would do that. You would just go to your local solar or your local car or something along those lines. How did you end up going from Iowa, right? From there,
South Dakota, yeah.
yeah.
So that's a great question. So yeah, so my father actually got sick, and when my dad passed away, I was super depressed, and I had sold my co-working space to take care of my dad, so I could be in
Yep.
hospice with him, and I was depressed, and I knew that I wanted to overcome this depression, but I didn't know how to do it. And so literally most people have no idea. Like, so I Googled how to overcome depression without taking medication. And that's how I found Grant Cardone. I found a video of Grant Cardone talking about taking massive action to overcome depression. And then once I did that, like I gamified my life. I gave myself like 5 points to get out of bed, 5 points to mow the lawn, 5 points to do the dishes. Like all these different points, right? And once I did that, then I was like, holy shit, this is working. I have to go change lives with this guy. So, like, the journey of going to work for Grant was never about trying to make money and be in sales. It was all about trying to have impact and change lives. And then, starting to make money and learn how to, I was in ministry for 10 years too. So it was like, what I really learned at Grants was how to take my ability to connect with humans and have empathy and put massive action and a high ticket dollar behind that. And then you bring all those three together. You bring empathy, high ticket, and massive action. And that's how you find success. And that's what I was able to kind of put together.
I this should feel personal, and so I ask. I think back to then when your father was being sick and you were going through all that, and where your life was at. Could you have envisioned this corner office in this high rise in Miami and today back then?
No, and it's funny you bring that up because I just saw some trucks go by and there's trucks everywhere. But one of the things I talked about recently on my Instagram was um, you know how Gary Vee has his jet story? So
Yes.
Gary Vee has his like he wants to buy the jets, right? One of the things for me, like sales was a byproduct. Like I just wanted to help people. And I figured out that sales could help you. I'm not setting out to be the best sales guy. It just kind of was like, hey, how can I help the most people? And I found sales was the ability to do that. But what I really want to do is I want to honor my dad. I want to honor our name. And so one thing that I did after he died, he was a truck driver his whole life, so he was never able to afford a truck. So I bought randtransport.com and I bought Rand Transport LLC. And I was like, I'm going to put my dad's name on a truck. I'm going to buy a truck, put his name on it, and my dad's name in honor of him will float or will go down the road. Well, then I bought a condo that's like right there ish,
Okay.
right on the water. And every day I wake up and I see the port of Miami and I see all these shipping containers go by with other people's names on it. And I said, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And so now, my most recent post on my Instagram, I was like, my friends are like, dude, that's your Gary Vee story. Like, buy a fucking shipping barge, like, start shipping shit to, you know what I mean? Like, honor your dad in the biggest way possible. Like, why not? And I put it out there with no intention of it doing anything and kind of feeling weird. And I've had like 10 real businessmen reach out to me in the last couple of weeks and say, how do I get involved in helping buy the ship? So I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I just know that my dad was really important to me and I want to honor him and uh, I don't want to just get rich for myself. I want to help a lot of other people do it and I want to honor him in the process. And I feel like, owning a transport company would be a really cool way to do that. And it's a real business. And, I have love and hate sometime with sales in the info space. Some days I'm like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. And some days I'm like, it'd be really cool to own a real business. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but
Yeah, I can. I also think, though, just hearing this story again, how humbled I am, and I can't wait to share it with my team and then have them watch this podcast as well, too. But it's about a life of taking action, and
yeah.
I think I had a conversation with them today about being in the 1%, and what are they doing in their lives that are allowing them to be in that 1%. And you get a lot of people, they really don't appreciate how they are the circle of their average of their five closest friends, And
Yeah.
so just helping them really understand that. And that's why I also think about your events, because you're allowing people, when you sell me a ticket, no matter what my entry fee is, I am leaving this comfortable space, this comfortable environment that I'm in, and I get to go be challenged. If I think I'm a big dog, I have never been to an event where there wasn't significantly more big dogs than
Yeah.
me. And so
100%. Yeah.
sometimes you can get into this bubble where you're like, I'm rocking and rolling, I'm doing it, I got all this stuff. And then you go there and it's a good, humble reality check. So what a cool product that you get to like navigate people to.
Yeah, and it's yeah, a small thing, but it's something I look for because like I'm really proud of a couple of my watches I have, right? Like I bought watches at different places in my life, and then at every event I've ever been to, there's always somebody that just kind of lays it down with like, they've got like a $500,000 watch on, and you're like, fuck, like how is that? And it sounds foolish, it sounds whatever. It doesn't matter. For me, I don't look at it and say it's not about the money for me. It's about the fact that that person took enough action, believed in themselves enough
Yep.
to put themselves in a position that they were able to afford a $500,000 watch. And then it's not just a $500,000 car or house, it's something that's on their wrist. So they have much more in their life, and it's abundance mindset. And it's like it's not as much about getting rich as it is the game of challenging myself. The same way when I found that video of Grant, I was laying on my couch depressed, like how can I gamify my life to continue to level up? Like, and that's I just feel like I'm constantly it's a balance of finding happiness where I am and
Yeah.
being proud of what I built, yet being hungry enough to keep going and seeking more.
I have I write every week this year. I write down the most important quote and I read a lot, Brian. So like I got
Yeah.
some really dope quotes, but the one that I just wrote, I think it's week 13 of this year, week 13 or 14, but it
Yeah.
says something like, don't forget how far you've come. Don't forget how far you've come on your journey to see how far you can go. Something along those lines, because we get so caught up in pushing and forward and pushing forward and pushing forward. Sometimes we forget to pause and be like, oh yeah, I made it from inner city Richmond, Virginia, and you made it from all the way out there, and all these struggles that we had to adapt and overcome. And it's cool when people get to be in circles with guys like you there and your team there who get to inspire and lead, and kind of just like to share your story, because I look at you like a barber, and I say this with love. You know how many guys are on TV, and the only reason why they look damn good is because that barber cut that hair just perfect, and
Yeah.
you're sending them out there and looking good. Because without the guy behind the scenes, well, then that guy might not be out there.
Yeah. No, that's true because a lot of times I look at audiences and I'm like, man, these guys have no idea how many dials and how hard we work to fill this room right now. And everyone's saying that guy has a really cool, powerful Instagram. And sometimes that's not always the case. I feel like we can artificially create brands, like sometimes I feel like we're an artificial brand creator because, like I told you before, we're doing 4 to 5 thousand dials a day. It's a lot of energy into other people's brands, that they're getting out of us. And so there's a lot more value that we're bringing to the table than just converting tickets. Because if I'm calling your list for a month straight or a month and a half straight and just pouring into your community, like I'm bringing a tremendous amount of value and brand recognition to your name right now, right? Like we're calling leads right now that are 5 years old. They forgot they even bought a book 5 years ago, and it's like, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like we're just revisiting that and bringing all that stuff to the table. So yeah, you're right. It's much more than just a one-time ticket conversion. It's a brand building and, utilizing our skill sets and strengths to make the room essentially bigger than it would have been without us and just running ads.
What about you being like the life jacket for some of these events? The life preserver, if you will. Have you,
Yeah.
without going specifically into the names or whatever, but has there been an event where you were called in at the last second, like an emergency surgeon to save an event?
Yeah, almost. No. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just
A
say
lot
yes.
of
Lots
them.
of them. Yeah. Because people don't call we're not cheap though, but we're not
Yeah.
cheap. We're kind of like there's PR and then there's crisis PR, right? And sometimes on the PR side, you got time to create a plan and put something together. And sometimes in crisis PR, you spent a couple $1,000,000 to put an event together. You put up a flyer and you sold 10 tickets and you said, oh, fuck, like what was I thought this was supposed to sell out because I had XYZ celebrity on the flyer. And, that doesn't always happen anymore. It's getting harder and harder to just put up a flyer and sell out an event.
Is it more important the community or the keynote?
The community 110 times. Yeah, the community is everything. Like the keynotes don't sell tickets like they used to.
Yeah.
They drive it. They can drive clicks, which is good for leads, but I don't feel like they convert tickets like they used to. And
So
that's a battle I go through with every event because everybody wants to have a celebrity on their stage, but they don't realize they're dropping 200 grand to sell 5 tickets. It's like, it's a lot of money.
does that face help you guys when you go to sell the tickets? Hey, listen, and this person will be there.
I don't know because our process, we sell the community of the people in the audience more than the
Beautiful.
people on the stage. Just because so many people can get access. I mean, Instagram Live now, half those guys that sit on stage, you can get ready with them in the morning while they're brushing their teeth. Like, what else? You're so involved in their life, and you're only the people that pay 5K are going to get to meet them. Really, what the events for me are about in our process is selling, connecting with the other guests that'll be in attendance, right? And like meeting your future business partner. Like David Goggins isn't going to do a deal with you, right? But you might meet John Anderson that will, right? You might sit next to him and you guys form a partnership or do a deal together. And most likely you might get to meet David at lunch, but you're going to get a selfie and 30 seconds of
Yeah.
conversation and he's not going to do the deal, right? So like I think most people what we approach is like the ability to connect at the event with new people, not necessarily the speakers on stage.
Well, walk me through what the conversions look like today's event styles, some of these more public ones that maybe aren't private communities. Is it still back of the room, like everybody, hey, stand up, go to the back of the room, or has it changed a little bit to be segmented out?
Yeah, ish it has been a little bit. There's a few different ways we go about it. I'm not going to tell everyone's secrets on here, but there's different ways. There's some of that happens. There's some of it that's like, hey, scan the QR code. A lot of it, but a lot of it's getting done, like the previous employee, like or employer, like a lot of that gets done in the hallways too. So it's kind of like the stages for coaching but like we have an event we're doing at a movie theater in like 2 weeks. We're gonna have 200 people in a movie theater, and like I have no fucking clue how that's gonna go down, but like
No
we're gonna
shit.
we're gonna figure it out. Yeah, we're gonna know, and they paid a lot of money to be there, but we're gonna figure it out.
Good for you guys. Have you ever seen? Is there somebody when you think of man? I never seen a sales guy, somebody keynote, whoever does, give a speech to clear out the room to the back to buy something more than this guy. Like he just
Uh,
got.
Myron Golden for sure, but probably our big. Do you know Myron?
No.
No, Myron Golden is probably one of the goats. But he definitely the largest event, the largest one we've ever done. We did $5 million at the event, and
Wow.
he did the stage. He did the stage pitch, and then my team did the floor and the hallways, and so we worked in unison. But there's something magic about what he does on stage. I haven't seen anyone better than him.
That's amazing, man. And so, what do you guys got on your immediate horizon coming up? You got this big event out in Utah.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna come down to Colombia and hang out with you, man. Like I need to go to Colombia, and we need to host an event down there.
Dude,
Uh,
there's a couple of masterminds that come here from the states that come here to Medellin. I see them.
yeah,
I'm getting the Facebook impressions right now. There's one the 24th through the 26th.
yeah, we should host an event down there together. Yeah, I think we have the big one we have the one we're doing it for HVAC owners. So we have 200 HVAC owners in a couple weeks. That one's pretty cool. We're flying the team out in a private jet to the event. So they've really spent a lot of money. HVAC's got a lot of money, so
Yeah.
we're flying the team out in the jet. So a lot of guys on my team, the top 4 sales reps get flown out on the jet. So they're all competing for a seat on the jet right now, which is fun.
Dope.
Um, and then we've got 7,000 people event, and then they're looking at doing that quarterly actually, with Garrett White and Dan Fleischman. So hopefully it goes as well as we hope, and we'll continue to do those either quarterly or monthly moving forward, and that'd be a good long-term project for us.
Can you walk me through the sales cycle from you guys when you're doing, let's just say, the HVAC event? Are most of these leads opted in leads recently, or are they more legacy stuff? And then what does your pitch start and kind of sound like?
Yeah, both. We're calling new leads and we're calling old leads, and it's really a lot of you know The big thing is like, hey, we're putting together a group of people. They're in your industry. We're going over leading trends. Like 2025 is hot. Everyone's making more money, everyone's spending more money, the markets are showing that there's opportunity in the especially in the real estate space, having Trump in office now, like really focusing on whatever's going to be hot for them, getting them excited about that. And then it's really like, Scott, we have a ticket with your name on it. Gene told me to call you. He wants you to be there. We've done business with you in the past. It's time to rekindle the relationship, get you down here to Miami in May 17th. I just need to know, can I count on you being in the room? And you just come in with that certainty and that commitment up front. And it's like, I don't talk about who's on stage or what we're going over, all that stuff. It's really paint out the big picture, get the energy, get the conviction. And then what did most people say? Well, when is it? Where is it? Well, I'm glad you asked. So it's in Miami, May 17th. And then we start looking over the calendar, go over your calendar. And honestly, a lot of times what we're doing is we're more like travel agents than we are anything else. Like we have all the Google flights. Like half the day, my guys are looking up flights for people because they're like, oh, I don't know. Let me look into flights. Well, you know what, Scott? I got that taken care of for you.
I
There's a direct flight from Medellin to Miami. It's going to be $350. I got it right here for you. So,
love
like,
it.
knowing what objections will come and then handling those objections right on the phone and not even acknowledging them, just being like, "Oh, travel? Okay, cool. Let me take care of your travel for you. Time? Just check your calendar. You're free. Wife? Go ahead and put her on the call and we'll talk about it."
What do you think makes your top sales guy there, your top closer, the one Mr. Consistent? What do you think separates him from the rest of the industry event sales guys?
That's a great question. I think it's just ability to be unreasonable.
Yeah.
Like just not believe anything they're saying. Like, cause it's all bullshit, just like just letting it flow off like the water off a duck's back, just kind of like, oh, that's awesome, man. Cool. Travel? No, not a problem. I got Google pulled up right here. Not even the agree, isolate, acknowledge, like all the steps. Just like not even just, hey, awesome, cool. Y- That's cool. Like they're like, well, I don't know. Let me wait 3 days. I totally understand, Scott. You definitely should wait 3 days. Tell you what, why don't we just do it right now? Why don't you just grab your credit card and we'll do it right now? Like, you don't even give it time to
Yeah.
acknowledge. And a
I,
lot of times people are like, all right, cool. And I'm just like, look, Scott, all it's going to take is the first four for us to get started. So, and then if they're still hesitant, I'm like, all right, fine, Scott. What color is it? What color is it? They're like, what color is what? What color is the card you're gonna use and when I call you back in 2 days? And they're
I,
like, "I don't know." Sometimes I'm like, "I don't know, let me check." And they'll, like, literally pull it out. I'm like, "Well, now that it's in your hand, we might as well just get the deal done." And then you get the card.
I, I, I kind of envy a little bit. I miss taking credit cards. God, if
Yeah,
there's not something just feels so good when you're taking a credit card right then and there.
there
That's
is,
how we
bro.
do
It can
lead
be
gen.
$97. There's just it's not just the close either. I think there's a transfer of trust, right? Because,
Yes.
like, you went from a total stranger 13 minutes ago to doing one of the hardest things now, which is giving a stranger your credit card, and so you're able to not only build that trust but also convert the deal, and obviously you earn a little commission, which is for me the most fun part is just converting the trust.
Too, man, and again, I'm not speaking on your behalf, but I imagine you're able to look in and see who upgraded and who bought whatever packages, et cetera, and knowing like, yo, I literally changed this guy's trajectory of his whole life. Like this guy, I talked to him on the
Yeah,
phone and he said he had been struggling and he'd always wanted to go and he'd always been putting it off and always been putting it off. And then he finally went to the event and now I see he upgraded to this and he's now like starting his real estate investment or finally
yeah,
taking this serious. It's got to feel so damn good for you.
it does, and it's funny. Well, two sides. One, you also see the cheap asses that do chargebacks, and you're like, that son of a gun. Like I've ran into that a couple times. I'm like, that guy literally does a chargeback. They go to the event and then they do a chargeback after, and you're like, this guy was bragging about how rich he was, and he does a chargeback, which is crazy. So I just had that happen recently. And then, but on the flip side, to your point, yes, it is, and it's I think people could hear what we do. Like, I don't consider myself a high pressure salesman. However, I ask a lot, right? I don't take no for an answer, and I make it fun. I make it funny, and I try to have fun. I want doing a transaction to be fun and easy. And so I'll ask many times, right? They'll be like, "No," I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, what color is it?" Are you a 4 CVC or 3 CVC kind of guy? Like, let's just all I need is the first 4. Let me earn the last 12. Like a lot of those things. And I'll tell you what, I've never had someone come up to me and be like, "Man, can't believe you pressured me into coming to this event." That's never happened. However, dozens of times, if not hundreds, I've had people say, "Man, thank you for like pushing me to get out of my comfort zone and challenging me to get the ticket to come here because I just had an incredible conversation with somebody, and that one conversation was worth all the money. And if it wasn't for you challenging the way I'm thinking, I wouldn't have done it." And so that definitely happens, and that feels really good when that happens.
Yeah, I think this whole conversation theme has been about like taking action, massive action, whether it's been you in your life, to kind of go on this trajectory that's been so insane that you've gone on to get to where you're at today and still going,
Yeah,
to you turn that into a product, which is helping other people take massive action. Like, do it,
yeah.
make that commitment, make those steps, get in the rooms with those people. It literally is a reflection of just you. Like, it feels good, man.
It does, man, and it's just like, I think that's, there was a scene in Blow. I don't know if you remember that in Blow with Johnny Depp, and at the end, he's in prison, and he said, "There's no more white horses or parties or girls at the door." But he said, "The one thing I can hold my hat on is my ambition. I'll always be proud of the ambition I had to never like to keep on going." And I think like when I think about the hardships I had, I'm nowhere near where I want to go.
Yeah.
However, the thing I'm most proud about is the fact that I've never given up, right? And I've never like I've just constantly just like I just wake up every day with like I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go if you have it, I know it's possible to get, and it's my job to go get it. And I think if you just believe, oh my god, oh Hammy, god damn it, you're funny, bro. One of my buddies just commented on Instagram. That's hilarious. Uh, but it's one of those things, man. It's just like if somebody else has it, I know it's possible to go get it, and so
Yeah.
why not me, right? Like whether it was selling out the largest arenas or whether it's like going and getting the shipping containers with my name on it. Like if someone else did it, I can get it, and I just want my team to win with me. Like I know I'm gonna win because I learned how to sell, and I've proven I can do that. Now I just want to teach other people I want to teach other people they can find that same financial freedom through the art of sales. And that's really my mission and my purpose.
From where I first met you, I thought about this. I said, man, it's tough to always leave those golden handcuffs. You know what I mean? Because you were in a
Yeah.
corporate job, you were making good money. I couldn't even imagine the additional social pressure you likely got from your peer group because, like, oh, you were working alongside this and you were working alongside that. To step out, like to me, and to say, you know what? Hey, listen, I came here, I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish here, and then move on, like
Yeah.
that takes a lot of gumption. A lot of guys would stay in that one position until.
Well, a lot of people have tried and then they go back to working normal sales jobs. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if the entrepreneur bug is a blessing or a curse. I've yet to make that decision, but I wake up every morning and it feels like I'm on a cruise ship. And you know, I was born in a trailer and now I wake up and all I can see is ocean. And so, I'm pretty fucking proud of that. So like
As you should.
whatever it's taken to get there. And now I want to own the barge on the ocean. And so,
Yeah.
my biggest excitement is when I someday own my barge. I'm gonna take the first trip. I'm gonna get like a tent and fucking camp out on top of one of those things and just be out in the ocean blue and just be really proud that I never gave up and I kept going until I figured out how to make it happen.
Yeah, I love that about you, man. I'm super thankful. We could go on into the tactics side of it. I'm
Yeah.
really thankful, though, I got to learn more about you specifically, man, this journey and exactly how you guys are impacting things. I think what you said, too, and even if you didn't say it specifically, this is what I know is you're probably underappreciated your company
Mm.
for the exact impact that you guys really are bringing to this space. It's a lot easier, and I say this with love to some of these influencers, it's a lot easier to sell courses than to actually pick up the phone and do the work. And so you'll have, and I see it firsthand, man, I see these
Yeah.
guys, it's almost like drug dealers in high school. They sold back then, and then they tell you legacy stories, and it's just because their business models changed a little bit. Maybe they're more on the coaching side than the actual sales tactic and strategy side. So now you got to come in there and be the hired guns. You're the guys that, just like in Iraq, they're sending in you the mercenaries to get out there and fill in the tickets. So, dude, it's
No,
super
I
neat.
really I really appreciate that because I couldn't You just put into words a feeling I've had for a while, and it's a sometimes unappreciated job because it is hard. And like you see some guys who are like, I'm a badass sales guy, and they come in and they get their asses kicked on the phones. Like,
Yeah.
and I think the biggest thing for me is I want to reward my guys for the time they've put in. They've put a lot of time in, they've sold a lot of tickets. And it's like, how do I put them in a position to really and I've had a lot of guys leave, right? They've used this as kind of a springboard and they're making a lot more money. And I think, my hope is they can look back at our time with us and our time here in the company and say, I learned a lot, right? Like, when was the last time you picked up a phone and made 300 calls in a day? Most people have never done that,
Yeah.
right? My guys do it every day. And so I'm super proud of them for that.
Yeah, and the best part is they've won through failure because they still
Yeah.
get more no's than you do a yes. It's just the nature of the beast out there. You talk to more voicemails than you do humans, it seems. So, dude, I think about it and I see the trajectory. I see the need for having this space. Like I said, I've had some experience with some of the events in the real estate world. And
Yeah.
if people have, for any of the gurus, the coaches, and they want to just understand more exactly what ESA does, how do they find out more information about you and your event?
Yeah, they can go to Brian Rand, my Instagram. That's where I do most of my work. That's kind of my public business card. Also, they can go to our website, eventsalesagency.com, schedule a call with me. It's not my team, it's with me. And so I'd be
Great.
happy to hop on a call and see how we can bring value to you guys.
Do you guys also do high ticket conversions for non events, like just funnel conversions from other coaching
Yes.
products, et
Yeah,
cetera?
we do on preset appointments. Yeah. So if they have preset appointments, we'll take those too.
Nice. Yeah, I would assume that that's right up your guys' alleyway. And I speak up to a lot of influencers who have courses and they really struggle with that whole part. They have a good product, they have great experience, they have great material. They just struggle with converting the leads that are coming in.
I know, man. I know. There's a high value to the skill you and I have, and it's I'm grateful to have it because
Yes,
it
sir.
means that, we're gonna have a jobs for a long time. It's gonna be hard to replace what we're able to do because a lot of times, especially selling high ticket, AI might be able to take away ticket sales, but it's gonna be a long time before it can have that deep emotional connection and empathetic connection to do a 25 to 50K transaction.
I love it. All right, guys. To learn more about Brian Rand, go to @Brian Rand on all the social profiles. To learn more about his event sales, to be able to see what tickets they're selling and what they're up to, visit the website Event Sales Agency. And brother, I really appreciate you coming out here today and just sharing with me more of your journey. I've always watched you from afar, always had respect and just loved the growth. Now that I
Yeah.
understand a little bit more, man, damn, it makes me feel good to know you, brother. Thank you.
Dude, that means a lot. Thanks so much for having me on, Scott. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, brother.
All right,
Have a
see ya.
good one.